This isn't one of those spooky celebrity ghost stories or a wild tabloid rumor meant to scare you for fun. What you're about to hear is different. And once you know what I saw, what I heard, and what followed me home, you'll understand why I can't ever go back to LA again. Spring break in Los Angeles was supposed to be an escape. Just me and two close friends, Simone and Jada, trying to decompress after a brutal semester. We had no big plans, just a borrowed apartment in Koreatown, a little cash for overpriced drinks, and dreams of catching a glimpse of the good life. And for the first couple of days, that's exactly what it was. Beaches, rooftop parties, sunset selfies. It felt like we had walked onto a movie set. But LA has this weird vibe to it. The kind of beauty that's too perfect, every smile too rehearsed, every laugh a little too loud. Simone noticed it first. One night, while we were out in West Hollywood, she leaned over and said, "You ever get the feeling everyone here is pretending? Like none of it's real?" And honestly, she wasn't wrong. Every person we met seemed like they were auditioning for something, even when the cameras weren't rolling. That night, while Jada was chatting with this older guy in a black suit at the bar, none of us thought much of it. 10 minutes later, she came back glowing like she'd been cast in a movie. "We just got invited to Diddy's house," she whispered. Simone laughed. "Girl, stop playing." But Jada was serious. She held up a napkin with an address scribbled in ink. Beverly Hills. Gated. Private. No phones. "Dress nice. Don't ask questions," she said. And like idiots, we went. The Uber dropped us off just after midnight. The driver didn't say a single word the whole ride up the winding canyon. No music, no small talk. Just the sound of tires curling around the hills as the city faded behind us. When we reached the address, we didn't see any flashing lights or party crowds. Just two massive iron gates that opened slowly like they'd been expecting us. A man in a charcoal suit stood at the entrance. He didn't smile, didn't ask our names, just said, "Phones." We handed them over. He dropped them into a velvet pouch and sealed it shut before giving us a small claim ticket like we were checking coats. "Follow the lights. Don't wander," he said, then turned and walked away. The path to the house was lined with tiny lights embedded in the ground, flickering like runway markers. The mansion ahead wasn't grand in the usual way. It was sleek, cold, all black glass and smooth concrete. No music, no chatter, just this silence that made the air feel too still. Simone whispered, "Why does this feel like a tomb?" I didn't answer, but she wasn't wrong. Inside, everything was red. A soft, glowing red that bathed the hallway like the inside of a luxury car. The walls were clean, the floor polished, the sound low and strange, like ambient bass you could feel but not hum. People were already there, dozens of them. Beautiful, silent, standing in groups but not speaking, sipping drinks that didn't seem to come from anywhere. No one danced. No one even looked at us. They just watched. Someone handed us drinks. Clear liquid, no label. Jada took one immediately. Simone didn't. I hesitated. "Just one," Jada said, but Simone leaned in. "Watch the crowd. No one's drunk. No one's dancing. This isn't a party. This is a performance." And she was right. Every face in that room wore the same plastic smile, like they were waiting for something, like they already knew what was about to happen. That's when I saw him, Terrence Howard, just standing near a floor-to-ceiling window that looked out over the dark city. He wasn't talking to anyone. He wasn't drinking. He just stood there, thinking, like he'd been thinking for a long time. And then he looked at me. Not the group, just me. He walked toward me slowly, as if gliding through smoke. No one around us seemed to notice. It was like he wasn't even real. He stopped a few feet away and said, "You ever feel like you walked into a place you already dreamed about?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. This house, these people, it's a rerun. Different cast, same story. He looked tired, not just sleepy, soul tired. "You look like you still got yours," he said. I asked, "Got what?" "Your man card," he replied, then leaned in and said, "They'll come for it, maybe not tonight, but eventually. They don't take it all at once, just enough to make you feel like you owe them. Just enough to make you disappear." I was frozen, heart pounding. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. His eyes shifted over my shoulder. "Because he's watching you now." I turned, and there he was, Diddy, smiling, walking toward us like he owned the world. Diddy was smooth, calm, charismatic in a way that made the air around him feel heavier. "What's good, young king?" he said, clapping a heavy hand on my shoulder. "You from out of town, right?" I nodded, tried to act normal. "Just visiting for spring break." "I know who invited you," he said, cutting me off. "You got good energy, balanced, real calm. You ever think about staying out here, making moves?" He scanned my face like he was sizing up a car he was thinking about buying. Then he said, "Come with me for a minute. I want to show you something." Simone stepped in. We were just about to leave. He turned to her, still smiling, but his voice was cold now. "I ain't talking to you, sweetheart." His eyes came back to me. "Just 5 minutes." Simone's eyes begged me not to go. My gut twisted, but I went. The hallway was darker now, the lights dimmer. The red glow pulsed gently like a heartbeat. At the end of the corridor was a black door. Diddy opened it. Inside was a lounge, leather furniture, low lights, too many mirrors, and a feeling I can't describe, like something was hiding in plain sight. He poured 2 drinks from a crystal decanter. "You got a lot of potential," he said. "But potential don't mean shit if you ain't willing to give something up." He handed me the glass. I didn't take it. "What is this?" I asked. "Just a drink, my guy. Chill," he said, laughing. But there was nothing casual about the moment. I could feel it in my skin. This wasn't a drink. It was a line in the sand. I remembered Terrence's warning. I remembered Simone's eyes. "Drink it," he said again. "It's just a drink." But we both knew it wasn't. My hand hovered above the glass. Just say yes, and it all changes, right? That's what they want. But I couldn't. The air in that room wasn't air. It was pressure. It was something waiting to move the second I gave in. My hand dropped. "I'm good," I said. Simple words, but they hit the room like a thunderclap. Diddy's smile didn't fade, but it shifted. His eyes went flat. "You sure?" he asked. "This door don't open twice." "I guess I'll keep the one I've got." He stood, nodded slowly, then opened the door. "Your call. Go back to your friends." But everything in his voice told me I wasn't welcome anymore. I wasn't a guest. I was a problem. I turned to head back, but the hallway behind me was gone. Not dark, not hidden, just gone. A blank wall of matte black concrete. I spun around, panic rising. Diddy was still there, arms folded like he'd seen this 100 times. "You think this house got exits?" he said. Then he pointed down another hallway, narrower, deeper, darker. I followed, 'cause what else could I do? The further we walked, the more everything felt wrong. The walls pulsed, the lights dimmed, and under it all, a sound. Not a hum, not music, a breathing, thick, wet, and slow, like something was alive behind the walls, waiting. Diddy stopped at a steel door. Dead bolted. He looked at me, serious now. "You keep looking at me like I'm the one you should be scared of," he said. "I'm just the handler." "Handler for what?" I asked. He unbolted the door and opened it, and the world changed. Inside was nothing. A room made of black, a darkness that didn't just block out light, it devoured it. The air turned sharp and freezing, not cold like weather, cold like death. Then I heard it, that breathing, not from Diddy, not from me, from the dark, like lungs that hadn't taken a breath in centuries were waking up. "It lives with me," Diddy said, eyes fixed on the void. "Grew up with me. At first, I thought it was ambition, drive, but it's hunger, pure and simple." He stepped closer to the edge. "It don't want money, doesn't care about awards, it wants submission. You're final. No, the one that makes you you." "You feed it," I whispered. He smiled. "Everyone does. Some call it different names. Success, fame, God. But it's the same thing." "And if I don't?" He tilted his head. "Then it waits, follows, doesn't go away. You'll feel it, in the quiet, in the doubt. It's patient. You'll remember this place." I backed away. My throat was dry. "When do you feed it?" His grin returned, colder than before. "Whenever I feel it's getting too hungry. Whenever I feel like I'm slipping. That's when I feed it. That's when I take a man's card." I don't know how I got out. One moment I was staring into that impossible blackness. The next I was standing barefoot in a cul-de-sac. The mansion was gone. Just a hedge where it used to be. No gate, no driveway, no house. I walked for what felt like hours. Found a gas station. Borrowed a phone, called Simone. They had been looking for me, waiting outside the house for over an hour. Then the gate shut. The lights went out. It was like the place vanished. They thought I left with someone. I didn't tell them the truth. I couldn't. 'Cause how do you explain a monster in the hills? Weeks passed. I tried to forget. Tried to move on. But the night stayed with me. The hum echoed in my dreams. The cold clung to my chest like frostbite. Then I got a call. From a guy I used to know in the industry. Said Prince had been working on something big. That he'd left something behind. Something real. Turns out, Prince had surveillance footage, hidden cameras in his own house, a surveillance bunker buried beneath Paisley Park, 10 monitors, audio boards, everything hardwired. He'd been recording one of Diddy's private parties. Not for fun, for truth. I was brought in as the sound guy. The video tech was a wiry dude from Chanhassen. Quiet but sharp. Prince sat between us, legs crossed, sipping tea, watching it all unfold on screen like he already knew what was coming. Guests started to arrive, quietly, carefully. No paparazzi, no noise. Just black SUVs with tinted windows and drivers who didn't speak. A former child star with dead eyes, a man known for flipping suits into symbols, a daytime TV king, a mega producer, a preacher. They were all told the same thing. No security. No plus ones. Diddy was already there, walking the halls like a man checking blueprints. He stopped outside room 19, touched the wall. "Yeah," he said, "this one's perfect." Then our audio feed went dark. Prince nodded. "You'll have to reset it manually." So I did. Slipped out with nothing but a comlink and my tools. I found the hallway, slid into the room. Just as I knelt to adjust the panel, the door opened behind me. I dove into a supply closet. Through the crack, I saw him. Diddy, holding a plastic bin filled with baby oil, bottles of it. His face lit up with childlike glee. He started dancing, humming, moving his hands in strange, ritualistic patterns. There was no music, no one else in the room, but he was practicing for something. He set the bin down and walked out, grinning to himself. I reset the feed and ran. Back in the bunker, Prince didn't even turn around. "Good," he said. Mark pointed to the monitors. "They're all going in." Room 19 was filling up. Slowly, one by one. They entered like ghosts, silent, deliberate. No laughter, no performance. This wasn't a party. It was something else. They moved into room 19 like a ritual had already begun, and they were merely joining it mid-ceremony. Prince leaned forward, eyes fixed on the monitors. The room was small, no windows. A velvet rug, a single chandelier overhead, and that same airless silence I'd felt in the mansion. Diddy stood at the center, welcoming them with open arms. They formed a circle around him, famous faces, billion-dollar brands, people whose reputations were built on faith, family, and control. But not here. Not tonight. The preacher stepped forward, removed his jacket, then his shirt, folded them neatly. He knelt on the rug, eyes closed, and didn't move. Diddy popped open a large bottle of oil and poured it into his palms. Then slowly, with this rehearsed calm, he started rubbing it across the preacher's chest. Others followed, women in cocktail dresses, men in $1,000 suits. One by one, they dipped their hands into the oil and coated him. Not sexual, not nurturing, just obedient, methodical. Then the sound began. A hum. Not from speakers, not from anything human. A low, wet growl vibrating beneath the floorboards, threading itself through the chanting that started to rise from their mouths. It wasn't a song. It wasn't a language. It was something deeper, older, wrong. The lights dimmed. One of them pulled the chandelier cord. Now the only light came from flickering candles lining the walls. Shadows began to stretch and warp. The preacher collapsed forward, pressing his face into the floor as the others poured more oil onto him, bottle after bottle, drenching him, dripping onto the rug like melted wax. Mark, the video guy, gagged. He didn't make it to the trash can. He vomited in his hands and sank to the floor. I could barely breathe. My hands clutched the soundboard knobs like they were the only thing keeping me in reality. The hum got louder. I isolated it, fed it through every frequency band we had. It wasn't human. It wasn't anything. Prince just sat there, quiet, watching, like he already knew. "This isn't coming from them," I whispered. "I know," he replied. On the screen, the ritual was changing. What began as reverent had turned wild. Bodies tangled, some collapsed. One woman lay on her back as another poured oil directly into her mouth. A man ripped off his tie, eyes wide like he couldn't stop himself. And in the center, the preacher began to shake. His mouth opened wide, but no sound came out. None of our mics picked it up. Just the hum. And beneath it, something else. A whisper. Not in any language I knew, but it pierced straight through me into the bone, into the soul. "Turn it off," Mark gasped. But Prince didn't even blink. The chandelier swung above them. No one touched it. Their eyes had gone hollow. Their bodies no longer moved with intention. It was frenzy, pure and terrifying, like they were puppets yanked by invisible strings. Not pleasure, not sin, just surrender. Then it stopped, all at once. Silence. The guests stood slowly, covered in oil, clothes ruined, faces blank. They filed out one by one like church had just ended. No applause, no conversations, just quiet exit. The preacher stayed behind, still kneeling, body trembling. One woman walked barefoot down the hallway, leaving an oily trail like it didn't matter. Another wiped his hands on a designer coat like he'd just finished cleaning up a mess. And when the last door shut, Prince stood, pressed his palms together, took a long breath. "You didn't flinch," he said to me. I couldn't speak. My mouth was too dry, my body too frozen. He put a hand on my shoulder. "That matters," he said, "and I promise you, this doesn't end here. I'm going to take them down." There was hope in his voice, and I believed him. We packed everything ourselves. No cloud storage, no wireless backups, just hard drives, audio stacks, redundant copies. Prince locked the box with the footage in a hidden room I wasn't allowed to see. "Come back in a few days," he said. "We'll clear the rest." 3 days later, I returned to Paisley Park. The place was too quiet, like something had been cleared out or silenced. The surveillance room was dark, no screens, just a coiled cable and my half-packed gear bag sitting in the corner. I stepped in slowly. That's when I felt it. A shift in the air, like someone was behind me. I turned. No one. Then I saw the mirror. It had been tucked behind a shelf, covered in dust, narrow, tall. And in the reflection, I swear to God, I saw it. A figure, not me, not human. It stood in the far corner of the room, just where the light cut off, like it was made of smoke that didn't want to be noticed, except for the eyes, open, watching, not blinking. I turned again. Nothing. Looked back at the mirror. Still there. It didn't move, didn't speak. But I understood. It saw me. It remembered. That was enough. I ran. Out the room, down the hallway, into my car. I drove until I hit the freeway. I didn't stop. I never went back. And I never saw Prince again. On April 21st, 2016, Prince was found dead in an elevator. Fentanyl overdose, they said. Just like that, no questions, no pushback, just headlines, nods, silence. But I knew what we saw. I knew what we recorded. And I knew that box of hard drives was long gone before they found him. I tried to disappear, changed numbers, switched states, took small gigs far away from LA, from studios, from anyone connected. I thought maybe if I stayed quiet, they'd forget me. Then came the trial. Cassie Ventura. Her voice broke through the courtroom like a knife. She spoke of parties, of rituals, of silence. She said names, described the room, the oil, the cameras. She didn't say Paisley Park. She didn't have to. They weren't just recording, she said. He wasn't the only one watching. My blood went cold because I knew they were watching me, too. The emails started again. Blank ones. Just timestamps. A black SUV would sit parked at the end of my block for hours. My dog would bark at empty doorways. And sometimes when I pass mirrors at night, I see it. Not my reflection. The thing behind it. The one from the room.